Hi, welcome back to Yoga with Mom. I'm Jen, and I'm very happy to see you today. So this class today is going to be another one of our mat classes. So we're not in the chair, we're going to be on the mat, and we're going to have very limited up and downs today, a little bit more than last class. So we're going to start on the ground with some stretching and movement, and then we're going to stand for some poses, and then we'll get back on the ground to kind of cool down, work on some core work, and a little bit of balance as always. So if you were ready, you had your breakfast, you had your water, you're good to go, comfy clothes, nice non-slip area, you got your yoga mat, or even a blanket. You don't even need a mat if you don't have one. If you try this out on the floor, that works too. I'm barefoot because that's the way I prefer to be on my yoga mat, but it's up to you what you do. So let's make our way down to our mat. Perfect. I'm going to start just by sitting here in my hero's pose. My toes are pointed to the wall behind me, and I'm just sitting nice and tall. My shoulders are back, my shoulder blades drop down my back, shoulders are nice up and tall. I'm sitting as tall as I can. The crown of my head really reaches to the sky above me. I'm remembering some deep breaths in and out. And I'm just gonna take a few breaths here to center myself. So I'm gonna bring my palms to heart center in prayer. There you go, and I'm gonna gently close my eyes for this. And as I take a few breaths in, I want to let go of everything that happened before this very moment. All that matters right now is my practice here today. I'm going to notice the feelings in my body, how it feels to move, to stretch, to bend. Noticing what might be a little stiff or a little sore. Noticing what I can do a little differently next time, and just trying to find little pieces of my practice today that really speak to me, that I can bring into my daily practice myself and move further down my yoga journey. So I invite you to take one final big breath in and exhale. And then we're going to make our way to our hands and our knees in our tabletop position. If you have not before you started this video today, please move your head and neck around a little bit, get a little bit of movement, maybe a few wrist circles, arm circles, that kind of thing. We're not going to go crazy today, but we're not going to take the time at the beginning of class to stretch our neck. So I'm going to start by bringing my hands underneath my shoulders, my knees underneath my hips. My toes are going to point behind me to the wall behind me. There you go. And I'm going to press my spine up towards the ceiling or towards the sky, in my case, in my cat position. So as I round my spine, I gaze down towards my navel. And then exhale my belly down to the mat. My head rounds up, my gaze goes towards the sky in my cow. I round my spine up for my cat. My gaze is at my navel. I push into the palms and the tops of my feet like a nice Halloween cat here. Really push, push, pushing. Noticing this in my hip just a little bit. And then I inhale my belly down to the mat, rounding my head up. My gaze is towards the sky. Perfect. We're going to do one more one just like this. All right. Let's round that spine up to the sky, gazing towards my navel and my cat, really, really pushing, pushing, pushing into those palms. I really want to look like those Halloween cats, just pushing. And then I inhale my belly down, rounding my head up. Very nice. I want you just to sway a little bit side to side on your hips. There you go. As you sway, let that movement travel down your legs and your hips, your upper thighs here. Sway a little bit into your arms and your shoulders. You can bend those elbows to get a little bit of movement that way. You go. And of course, as always, be mindful of your balance here. I want you to get some movement and warm some of your muscles up, but not at the risk of falling. So just be mindful. You know your body. All right, let's make our way back into center. My hands are right below my shoulders, knees are right below my hips. Perfect. I want you to lean your hips all the way to the left side of your mat. and then point the right toes out to the right side. You can bring that leg up as far as you'd like. If it is more comfortable to reach the leg further back, you can do that as well. You can bring it all the way up towards your hip. But the goal is to feel a nice stretch here as I lean into that hip. And again, I'm being mindful of my balance. So if I need to reach my arm over a little bit, you can. You don't need to push too hard. And you, of course, can keep your knees both below your hips and just lean into your hip. But listen to your body and what feels good in this moment here. I'm gonna lean my hip all the way to the side, point my toes out. I gaze down towards that extended right leg. Push into that left palm here. A little bit into the right. And just gently twist. And then I bring my right leg back in under my hip, and I'm gonna switch sides. So I lean towards the right, point my left leg out, and I push into my right palm, twisting, looking at those left toes, that leg points straight, pushing, pushing, remembering my nice deep breath, of course. All right, let's make our way back into center. Perfect. I'm gonna plant those palms right below my shoulders one more time. Curl my toes underneath, and then lift my knees up off the ground. I'll turn so you can see me a little bit better here. Got those toes curved, and I lift the knees up just a couple inches off the ground in my bear. Here you go. And I'm gonna hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's drop our knees down. All right, making our way back to center here on our tabletop. Very nice job. Let's keep it going. I'm gonna reach my left leg out and back. There you go. Point those toes. If I have a good balance here, I can reach my right arm out, so that's opposite leg to opposite arm, reaching straight out and holding. If I am not feeling the best of my balance right now, keep those palms into the ground and just stretch that leg out and we'll hold. So here, either with the arm out or planted, I hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's set that leg down, that hand down if it was up. Get recentered, and then we switch. So my right leg points out, and if I am feeling comfortable, my left arm points out. There you go. Nice on that balance, and I hold here. There you go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's set that down. Very nice. I want you to bring your toes together, spread your knees wide on your mat, and we're gonna sit back gently into our child's pose. So sitting down on my feet, stretching those arms overhead, pressing into my palms. And we're just gonna take a few breaths here, resting in our child's pose. And if this is too much to have your shoulders open like this, you can always bring your arms down next to your feet here, or even leaving them with your hands planted at shoulder level. I like to stretch mine out nice and long and push into those palms so I can really stretch my shoulders, because we're going to keep moving and get a nice shoulder workout in, so I like to warm them up as best as I possibly can. And this is a very easy way to do it without really trying. So let's just take a couple more breaths here, and then we'll move on. Alright, let's take one more big deep breath in together. And exhale. Very nice. Let's push ourselves back up onto our hands and our knees. We're gonna move those toes apart. There we go. Hands are gonna be underneath our shoulders, knees below our hips. Very nice. And we're gonna move on to our gate pose. We did this last week and it's one of my favorites here. It's a nice easy one. So we roll up to our knees. There we go. I'm going to stretch my right leg out to the side and pointing my toes. My right hand comes to that right knee. I want my shoulder to be nice and back here. And I reach the arm up overhead, straight tall, and then it bends over. Reaching towards my right shoulder, but this left shoulder is dropped down and my chest is nice and open. So I'm pulling the shoulder back and then over and not folding over this leg. So sitting nice and tall. I should feel a nice stretch in that side of my hip here as I reach nice and tall. There you go. And with any of these practices today, we are going to be on our knees a little bit. If you feel pain in your knee or discomfort, you can always put a towel down below your knee, or another mat sometimes is a great idea to have two on top of each other. Just listen to your body and try to do what you can to adjust yourself. A little discomfort, a little something maybe you're not used to is okay, but you shouldn't ever be in pain in yoga. And if you are in pain in any of these poses, I want you to stop. You can always reach out and I can give you some different modifications too. All right, let's reach both of our arms back up towards the sky, nice and tall. There you go. I'm just gently pushing my hip a little bit forward this time. Reaching, wiggling on those fingers a tiny bit. All right, very nice. I'm gonna move next into my half camel. So I'm going to swing that left arm back behind me. I can grab onto my hip here, or I can reach down to my foot. When I'm in this half camel pose, I can curl my toes up as well. So it's up to you and what feels best in your body right now. I am going to reach down towards my heel, pushing my hip out just a little bit forward and reaching my arm up towards the sky. I'm gonna turn so you can see me a little bit better at this angle. So my right leg points out to the side. I grab onto the heel or my hip, or curl those toes underneath. And my arm goes up. My hips push forward, my arm reaches. There you go. And if it feels good, you can straighten that flat foot. There you go. No matter how you have your hands on your foot or your hip, you're gonna notice a little bit different of a stretch. So some days it's better just to have that hand on the hip and stretch. And some days you wanna curl the toes. It's all up to what feels good in the moment. All right, let's drop our arm back down. We're gonna make my way back to center here, and we're gonna switch sides now. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the gate pose on the other side. And I'm a little close to my wall here, so stretch my leg out, there you go. Left hand goes to left knee, right arm reaches up tall to the sky, my shoulder drops down in the back, open that chest up, and I bend my hand over, stretching over my torso, reaching nice and tall. Remembering my nice deep breaths in, pushing, letting that hip push out, really getting a nice stretch. All right, very nice. We're gonna move to camel, so let's reach those arms back up. There you go, wiggle those fingers a little bit. And I'm gonna swoop my right arm back, either towards my hip or my heel. Grab on, reach the left arm up towards the sky, and I'll push my hips gently forward into my camel. Notice you do have to shift that straight left leg to keep your balance. There you go. And I'm gonna gaze up just a little bit towards my hands. I have to be mindful of where I'm looking because the sun is now on my face, which is wonderful. But notice as you sit in this position, what it feels like when you gaze up a little bit versus what you gaze down. Notice how it feels where your hand is placed on your foot. And notice how it feels when you push your hips out a little bit further. All right, let's take a deep breath in. And when we exhale, we're gonna drop that left arm. There you go. Bring those knees together. There you go. So I'm gonna go into my full camel here. So today I don't feel like keeping those feet flat, so I'm going to curve my feet up. There we go. Both of my arms reach up towards the sky, and I'm gonna swoop down and swoop down. I push my hips forward, and I'm gonna gently look up. I don't want to crunch the head back because that's not good for my upper spine. So I want to just gently be mindful about lifting my chin gently to the sky, not pushing it, not straining. And I just push those hips forward, stretching. The shoulders are dropped down the back. Diesel says hello, as always. Perfect. We'll keep stretching here for a few more breaths. All right, let's make our way back to center. Slowly roll up. Very nice. Let's bring our hands to our hips. And we're just going to twist a little bit side to side, shimming around. There you go. Get a little bit of movement. Twist the hips a little bit on our mat. There we go. All right. We're gonna continue on with our thread the needle sequence, which is one of my top 10s, I guess. All right, I'm gonna bring my hands back down to the mat in my tabletop position. My hands are below my knees. I'm gonna start by bringing my right hand up towards the sky, stretching, opening my shoulder up, twisting my hips, and then I'm gonna slowly drop my hand down. The fingers reach away from my left hand, sliding down. I bend my right elbow, set my head gently on the side, and push into that left palm to gently open up my right shoulder. So I gently push and twist. Here we go, remembering to breathe here, pushing and twisting. Pushing and twisting. All right, let's take one more big breath in. And as we exhale, we push into the left palm. Bring that right arm back in. It's gonna reach back up towards the sky again. Maybe wiggle our fingers. And then we're gonna thread the needle. Our arm reaches under. We set ourselves on that right shoulder. Push into the left palm to twist. Right, as we breathe, with each exhale, we push a little bit deeper. Remembering our nice breaths. Let the power of our inhales and our exhales help us move our bodies. Here, if you'd like, we can stretch your leg out to the left. And you'll notice a shift of your body weight into your shoulder. Right now I'm kind of leaning on that right shoulder. So my body's very much supported on my right shoulder, my knee, and a bit on the side of my head. And if this feels good and you want to take it further, you can reach your left arm up to the sky. As always, you can keep your left leg in the original position and reach your arm up if you prefer to do that. It's all about what feels good to you, and you're twisting and you're opening up your shoulders. You can even go a little bit further and reach that left arm down, trying to grab the inside of your right thigh and the bind. The shoulder reaches back here. My arms are not long enough to really do this all the way, and it feels better for me to reach up towards the sky right now. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna reach up towards the sky, listening to my body. All right, one more breath in. And as I exhale, I drop that left palm down, bring my left knee in. I'm gonna push into that left palm. My right palm plants back down. And I'm gonna switch sides. All right, so I'll make sure my knees are nice and centered under my hips here. Here we go. I reach my left arm up towards the sky. Smile at the sunshine. And then as I exhale, I'm gonna reach those left fingertips down. They slide away from my right hand. I push into that right palm, gently opening up my left shoulder. Pushing, pushing, stretching, gently twisting. All right, let's take another deep breath in. And as we exhale, we push into our right palm, reach that left arm back up towards the sky, maybe wiggle those fingers. There we go. Get ourselves ready, and we will swoop that left arm underneath, gently lowering ourselves onto our shoulder. Here we go. Pushing into that right palm. Taking our few breaths here to really twist, using our arm to help us here. Twist, twist, twist. All right. And now if we feel like this is a good move for us, let's stretch our right leg out to the side, pointing those toes. There you go. I'm nice and supported on my shoulder, the side of my head. And my little toes are holding me down. And if it feels good for you, and safe, reach that arm up towards the sky. Nice and tall, opening those shoulders just a bit further. I'm gonna wiggle my fingers just a little bit here. And if it feels good, you can go for that bind, reaching towards your inner thigh of the left leg. Not feeling great for me on this side either, so I'm just going to keep reaching up for the sky. Alright, let's take one more big breath in together. And as we exhale, we're going to lower our right arm, push into that right palm, bring our right knee in. Fantastic. So as I'm just sitting here in my tabletop, I want to just shake my head a little bit gently side to side in a no. And then up and down in a yes. Maybe shake it a little bit side, like diagonal. Just release a little tension in our neck here. All right, let's slowly round ourselves back up. Fantastic. We're gonna make our way to a seated position. So I'm gonna cross my ankles over each other and gently sit backwards. There we go. I'm in a nice crisscross ankle position here. So we're gonna do a little bit of twisting here to get our torso really warmed up, and then we'll keep on moving. All right, here we go. So, sorry, I got a little itch in my legs. I got sunburned last week and it's just starting to itch. All right, I'm gonna grab my right knee with my left hand, twist and reach behind me. So I'm trying to sit as tall as I can on my mat. The crown of my head reaches towards the sky, and I'm gently twisting. Pushing into that right hand, using those fingertips or the palm, and the palm of my left hand too to help me twist, twist. Remembering nice deep breaths in, really sitting tall. One more deep breath in. And exhale, move through the center and switch sides. So my right hand grabs my left knee here. My left arm reaches behind, and I'm gonna twist, gently twisting, reaching. Remembering to keep that nice tall spine, nice and tall. Strong lung here, looking great. All right, let's make our way back to center. Very nice job. All right, let's reach those arms up to the sky. Nice and tall, maybe wiggle those fingers just a little bit. There you go, and I want you to flick your fingers like you're flicking water off of them. There you go. We're gonna get a little bit of movement in those upper arm muscles before we keep on going. There we go. So flick, 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 flick. It's a silly stretch that it gets pretty intense pretty quickly, but it's one of my favorites that I've learned, especially when your arms are over your head like this. You start noticing a lot faster. So we'll just do a few more flicky flick flicks. Keep them going for 10, 9, 8, oh, it's killer, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Shake. There you go. And then we're gonna reach our fingers up and then fold in our hips, stretching long, really flexing our bodies at a angle such as that. We're just hinging at the hips. We don't want to curl down. We want to just hinge, trying to keep our back straight. So you'll notice my head isn't on the mat because my back doesn't reach, it doesn't fold all the way that way right now. So as I fold, I hinge together. There we go. So I invite you to try that hinge. And as you fold here and you lay folded on the mat, you can walk your fingers a little bit further out. And just really be mindful of how this feels in the stretch in your low back. What does it feel like for you today, in this moment? Just remember to breathe in nice and deep. Let's slowly roll ourselves back up. Very nice job. All right, so now we're gonna move on to another twist because we're gonna be doing lots of twisting today here. I want you to bring the hands together in prayer at heart center. Perfect. And we're gonna do one of my favorites from our seated chair classes that you probably see me do a lot too. So what I'm gonna do is it's called a prayer twist. So with my hands in the prayer position at my heart center, I'm going to twist my body so that the outside of my left elbow is on the outside of my right knee. Here we are. Twisted. And then I push into my palms to twist my body a little bit deeper, gazing at my thumbs, gently twisting. All right. And we'll just sit here for a few breaths, allowing the pressure of pushing to twist our body. All right, let's take one more big inhale here. And as we exhale, we're gonna move through the center and switch sides. So the outside of my right elbow is gonna be on the outside of my left knee. I connect and gently push. There we go. Gazing at my thumbs here as I'm gently pushing. make our way back to center. Very nice job. All right, so now we're gonna actually bring ourselves all the way forward onto the front of our body. So I'm gonna bring my hands forward, bring my knees underneath my hips, point my toes to the wall behind me, and then I'm gonna drop my elbows down to where underneath my shoulders. So I'm gonna do a puppy pose here. So I wanna keep my hips pushed up and backwards, and I'm gonna slowly walk my arms forward. I need to reach them a little bit further apart here as I attempt to set my chest down on the mat. If you can, you want to also set your forehead or your chin down, but this is a nice shoulder exercise to open up our shoulders. Our palms are going to be planted on the ground, and we're just going to hold here for a few breaths, gently stretching. All right, on our next exhale, we're gonna push ourselves back up to our hands and our knees. Very nice job. And now we're gonna fully lay ourselves down in our crocodile. So I want you to drop your elbows down again. We're gonna walk those knees out, stretch our legs all the way behind us. I'm gonna cross my arms over my head and gently rest my head on my arms. My toes are gonna be pointed away from me. And as I rest here, I'm just gonna gently shake my head no, rolling my forehead across my arm. Just gentle here. We're kind of massaging our third eye, which is good for our intuition. We all need a little bit of extra enlightenment, don't we? Wonderful. We're gonna do a couple little back bends here and then make our way up to our feet to work on our balance. So, what I want us to do is to take a nice big breath in together and exhale. And then we're gonna lift our head, bring our elbows below our shoulders. Our palms are gonna press into the ground below us. You go. Our toes are gonna reach towards each other in the center and touch, or as close to each other as they can. It doesn't need to exactly touch, but we want to bring them in so that we kind of give ourselves a little bit of a tail almost. There we go. Because we're just going to push into our elbows, reaching that crown of the head towards the ceiling or the sky, and our sphinx. Pushing into those elbows, nice and tall. There you go. And then I'm gonna relax. We're gonna do this one more time, and then we're gonna make our way to our cobra pose, which is very similar, but a little bit more of a challenge. So, deep breath in and out. Let's press back into our elbows, stretching that torso up towards the sky. My crown of the head reaches, really trying to pull me up by the crown of my head towards the sky, pushing into my hips, into the ground. There you go. My pelvis is rooted to the ground. There we go. Really stretching. I can really feel this in my low back now as I push into my elbows and my palms. There you go. Awesome. And then let's relax, lean our head forward, release the tight legs. Deep breath in and out. One more in and out. Fantastic. All right, let's bring those elbows back. Our palms are gonna be right about at the top of our rib cage here. So as I'm all the way down to the ground, they're just below my shoulders here, top of the rib cage. Now my toes are pointing to the wall behind me, so my soles of my feet are facing the sky. And I'm gonna push into my palms, lifting my torso in my cobra. My elbows are close and tight to my body, but they're bent. My pelvis is glued to the mat. My legs are glued to the mat, and I'm just pushing. There you go. Gently stretching, really gonna feel it in that low back. Very nice. 3, 2, and 1. Lower yourself gently down. We're getting some really good back bending in here, so we're gonna keep going. All right, itch your nose if you got to, it's allergy season. Okay, my hands are back in place on the top of my rib cage. My toes are pointed to the wall behind me. And again, I push into my cobra. There we go, up, 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 up. Lifting, but keeping that pelvis glued down to the ground. I'm not lifting my hips up off the ground. Go. Pushing and stretching for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently lower yourself down. Very nice. I want you to reach your arms up overhead and really stretch. Place your forehead straight down on the mat, stretching those arms. I'm using the ground, even walkway fingers a little bit further, pulling my shoulders a little bit more out of my body. Breathe in nice and deep. And exhale. One more nice big inhale. And exhale. All right, let's lift our head up. I'm gonna bring my arms back down towards my body, and I'm gonna go into my bow pose. So for bow pose, we wanna reach our arm back towards our leg. So I'm gonna start off one leg at a time and see how we feel. If we can get both of our legs in, that's gonna be wonderful. But if we just do one at a time, that's also a great practice. It is kind of difficult to reach back towards our leg. So as we do this, I want you to remember the goal is to be reaching back with our shoulder here. So I'm gonna turn my body just a little bit. My camera angles aren't the best, but that's how it works when you only have one camera. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna lift my legs back up here. There you go. My arm is gonna reach back towards my ankle. There you go. And once this is not a problem for me to reach, I'm gonna reach back with my left leg, grabbing my left ankle. There we go. And if I can grab both, I'm gonna push into my feet, trying to lift my legs back up off the ground. I wanna keep my knees in, holding on tight. I'm gonna hold and push for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's lower ourselves back down. I'm gonna keep my hand on my feet, so we're gonna go back one more time. But by doing this, I enjoy just gently letting my legs fall a little bit to the side while I hold on to my ankles. It does a nice little stretch on my hips, but it's up to you if you would rather flex your legs, have a dog bark in your ear. Whatever feels better in the moment for you. Claire. Claire. Claire Bear says hello. Hello, Claire. I know, good girl. All right. We've had enough of a break here, so we're gonna continue on. So, since I still have my ankles in my hands, I'm just gonna push into them, lifting my legs, stretching for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower yourself back down. Very nice job. That's a difficult one. So I want you to just take one more breath here. We're gonna bring those elbows back in front of us again. Claire, that's enough. Claire, that's enough. And we're just gonna gently set our head down, point our toes behind us here. Just take another breath, allowing ourselves to be long on our mat. Remembering to breathe in and out. Breathing in and out. And one more time, in and out. Fantastic job. All right, let's make our way up to our feet to do some balances, and then we'll make our way back down to the mat to do a little bit more core work before we end for today. So we're gonna move into our downward dog, which is a yoga position that almost everybody knows about. So I want you to plant your palms, and we're gonna push into our palms so we lift ourselves up onto our knees. There you go. I've got my toes curled in, and once I feel like I'm stable, my palms are glued to the ground, I can grip it with my fingers if I'd like. I'm gonna lift my hips up towards the sky. There we go, up and back. And my feet don't need to be flat to the ground. It really is just a matter of how tight your hamstrings are. So here, with my hands on the ground, and if you feel like this is too much for you to be in this pose, you can drop the knees to the ground too. Absolutely fine. It's just a matter of what feels good to you in this moment. I'm gonna push myself back into my downward dog with my hips up nice and high. And I'm just gonna gently bend my knees a little bit. There you go, reaching those knees down towards the mat and straightening them up, pushing into my hips, pushing them up and back. Just gently stretching. And if you're on your knees, you can shift yourself a little bit side to side. Just listening to my body in the moment for what feels good is a stretch. Because all yoga is about is stretching your body and finding what feels good. All right. So I'm gonna push my hips up one more time in my downward dog. There we go, gazing down towards my navel, pushing into my palms. And then I'm gonna gaze towards my fingers and slowly walk my feet up to my hands. There you go. As I'm kind of in the center of my mat. It doesn't exactly matter where you are. What we're gonna do now here is we're just gonna stay folded down, and you can keep your hand on your mats, on your calves, on your thighs, and keep them as bent as you'd like them. You don't have to have straight legs or anything like that for this exercise. We really just want to bend. We want to feel the stretch in our low back. So we just fold ourselves forward. And if you'd like, you can grab onto your elbows. It's a rag doll. And I'm just going to gently shift a little bit side to side. I find I get a really nice stretch in my hamstrings when I do this, just gently shifting, twisting, while gently holding onto my arm. And you'll notice my knees are nice and bent, and as I shift side to side, I bend them even more. I'm not trying to be stiff and straight legs. That's not the best way to feel here. All right, I'm gonna stop in the center, release my hands, and slowly roll myself all the way up to standing. Very nice job. All right, let's work on some balance here. So we're gonna do my favorite pose, which is tree. We'll start off with that one. I plant my right foot, trying to make sure all four corners of my foot dig into the ground, and then I'm gonna lift my left foot. I invite you to have a counter or railing, something next to you so you can reach onto for your balance, because this is an important balance pose, and we don't want you just struggling to balance the whole time. If you need to put a couple fingers next to it just to graze to keep your balance, it's perfectly fine. As you work on this and practice tree over and over and over again, you'll get better and better each and every single time. So I know when I first tried it, I was crazy. So I invite you to have that railing next to you. All right, so with that right foot planted, I'm gonna bring my left toes up off the ground. If it's too hard to stay balanced, I can always just put my foot on my calf and touch my toes down as I need to keep my balance. Or I can bring it up or all the way up here. The goal is to not put pressure on your knee. Perfect. And then once you find your balance, I invite you to bring your hands in prayer to your heart center. or stretch all the way up overhead, really reaching. So I'm staring at a spot on the wall in front of me, and that's helping me keep my balance here. Stretching my arms wide, and I like to envision my toes rooting into the earth, holding me nice and strong. And there is a bend in my knee. My standing leg is not fully straight. I don't want to lock my knee backwards. I want to be strong, reaching, nice and tall, nice straight back. Perfect. We'll stay here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently lower yourself down. And if at any time during your balancing you notice you lose your balance, take a deep breath, readjust yourself, and put yourself back in there. There you go. It's all about working on ourselves and trying, and just keep trying every single day. So I'm going to switch to my left leg, that nice little micro bend in my left knee, and then I'm going to bring my right toes up to the calf or the inner thigh, and then I bring my hands to prayer. See, adjusting myself to keep my balance, or reaching the arms all the way out, nice and tall. All right, and I'm really trying to keep my right knee out so my hip is nice and open, my arms stretch and reach, and I really plant myself in the ground. You go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very nice job. All right, let's keep moving. So our next one we're gonna do is called hand to big toe. So we're gonna start it off this way. I'm gonna stretch my leg just a little bit behind me to get that hamstring muscle warmed up a little bit further. So I'm gonna start with my left leg, grabbing it here by my foot and bending it up. There you go. Sometimes we struggle with balance. It's always good to have that railing next to us. Remembering to stand nice and tall, nice micro bend in our knee. All right, I'm gonna switch. Grabbing my right foot with my right hand, stretching it back. There we go, nice and tall. Stretching. All right, now that I've warmed up the hamstring here, I'm gonna actually do the hand to the big toe portion. So I'm gonna really plant my right foot, a little bit of a micro bend in that knee, and I'm gonna bend my left knee up towards my chest. There you go. I'm gonna hold on to it with my left hand for right now, flex my toes, and grab onto my toes with my middle index finger and my thumb. Grab onto my toe here and stretch it out long. There you go. And I'm gonna reach that left hand down towards the ground. You can also do this by grabbing onto your toes with the same hand, the same side, and reach that right arm out. The goal is to try to keep your back nice and straight, nice and tall spine, crown of the head reaching, tall. So I'll stay here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very nice job. All right, let's switch sides. So I started off the other one with the cross arm, so I'm gonna start this one off the same way, and then I'll switch it to the same arm. It just depends on what muscles you want to open and what feels better. Sometimes it makes a difference with tighter hamstrings, what your back feels like. So I invite you to try both, see what you like better, and just go with that for today. All right, so cross body here. I'm going to plant those left toes, bring my right arm up. There you go. I've got them holding on to my knee with my right hand. Grab those toes, stretch that leg out. Ooh. Heard some creaking, cracking over here, and reach my arm down, nice and tall. The other option is to grab it with the same arm, same leg, There you go, reaching, arms reach down, nice and tall, trying to keep your back as straight as possible, crown of the head reaches for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Very nice job. I hope you feel like you did a good job with that one today. It's really challenging, and remember, neither one of our legs needs to be perfectly straight. The goal is to just do a little bit better each time we try it, but you did fantastic. Even just attempting it is better than what you did yesterday. So great job. All right, let's see here. Perfect. So we're gonna do one more pose for balance, and then we're gonna make our way down to the ground and do a little bit of core work before we're done for today. So we're gonna do what's called Warrior 3. And I'm gonna stand at this angle so it's easier for you to see. A good practice for this one here is to hold on to something if you'd like. So with Warrior 3, we stand tall, we hinge at the hip, okay? I'm gonna kick my right leg straight out, reach my arms forward, trying to make my body in a T, and I'm standing on a crook. There we go. And here we hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very nice job. And we're gonna switch, going to the other side, and I'll show you the front view this time. I put my hands on my hips, hinge myself forward, kick that left leg back with that nice planted right foot, reach those arms out. There you go. Really stretching the fingers and the toes away from each other as long as I can for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very nice job. If you find that very hard to do, I invite you to stand on one leg, hold on to something, a kitchen counter, a railing, somewhere where you can't fall and get hurt. Hold on, reach one leg back, and it's to hinge your hips forward. You don't have to just reach out. You can hold on, and then as your body becomes more and more used to the pose, the position, the angle you're at, you can lift your fingertips off, set it down, off and down. Sometimes when we find ourselves in strange positions, it's really hard in yoga because our body doesn't know what to do. So sometimes we have to train ourselves a little bit like that. By having that bend and letting my body know this is a good position to be in and I'm safe, holding on helps me to understand that. And then it's easier to learn and reach forward. All right, well, fantastic job. Let's continue on with a few more things, and then we'll be on our way for today. So we're gonna make our way back down to our mat here. So however you wanna slowly get yourself down, we're gonna make our way to our back. So I'm crossing my ankles here, hands reach down, and I'm slowly rolling myself down onto my back. There you go. Reaching my legs and arms away from each other, really stretching, stretching, stretching. Nice deep breath in and out. In and out. All right. So from here, I'm gonna go to my bridge position. So I'm going to reach my arms up towards my ankles. I'm gonna bring my ankles in right towards my bottom. Really set those feet right next to my bottom here. Knees are gonna be nice and tight together. Palms are gonna push into the ground, and I lift my hips up towards the sky. So I'm supporting myself on the soles of my feet and my shoulders, back of my head a bit. Knees are nice and close together. There you go. And I'm gonna hold myself here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's lower ourselves back down. Nice job. Let's take a good breath in and out. One more in and out. All right, let's press those palms back into the ground. Get the heels as close to our bottom as possible. Press into our feet and lift our hips again for the bridge again. Knees stay nice and tight together. There you go. Holding ourselves up, 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 up. Really reaching those hips up towards the sky. The waist reaches tall for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Gently lower your back down. Fantastic job. All right, so let's keep our palms connected into the ground. Now we're gonna go into some bicycles, which is a fun exercise here. I want you to bring those knees up to the sky. There you go. And from here, we're gonna do little circles, like we're pedaling a bike. So little circles. There we go. Going forwards. So we'll pedal, pedal, pedal. There you go. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Stop at the top and reverse. Going backwards on this, which is quite difficult. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring our ankles together and set them down onto the soles of our feet. Perfect. We're going to do our reclined pigeon next. So I want you to keep that right foot on the ground. My left leg is going to swing over, crossing there. Perfect. I'm going to curl my toes, really flex that left foot. And then I thread both arms down my right leg, grabbing onto my shin. Gently set my torso on the ground, and I will pull my right leg in towards my chest. There you go. Gently pulling and using gravity. You can also push a little bit with your right leg. I like to keep both feet flexed. And just notice what feels good here. I use a combination of pulling with the arms and pushing with the right leg. Just being mindful about how it feels, not pushing too hard. And just remembering to breathe. And breathe. All right, one more big deep breath in. And then as I exhale, I drop that right leg down to the mat. My left leg meets it, and I'm gonna switch sides. Perfect. So that right leg swings over so that my ankle is at the left knee. I'm gonna flex my right foot, reach the arms long down my left leg, grabbing that left shin bone. And of course, if you can't reach your shin bone, it's perfectly fine to just grab your inner thigh. Whatever you gotta do. Flex those feet and then push into the left leg. Pull with your arms and just gently stretch that hip. Breathing nice and deep here. Just stretching. I hope you're feeling this in your hip. It feels divine today. Soon we're gonna do our pigeon on the mat. I have a very fun class that's mostly standing exercises that we should be on later this week. So I hope you'll join me for that too. That features a lot more challenging poses, but it's so important to really get warmed up. And after several days of not really enjoying yoga and not practicing like I should have, I needed to really listen to my body and really stretch and move the way I needed to. But I hope this has helped you today too. Alright, let's drop that left foot down. My right foot drops down too. All right, let's glue both of my knees together. I'm gonna plant my palms to the ground. I'm gonna bring my knees up to my chest and then twist them to the side. There you go. And then just gently set those knees down on the ground. I'm gonna stretch my left arm further behind me, making a nice, almost T shape here, I guess, with my left arm behind my back. My gaze goes to those left fingertips, really reaching out and stretching. And I'm just gonna set my right hand on top of that knee and just deepening the twist just a tiny bit. And we're just gonna rest here, allowing gravity to twist our torso a little bit further. And if it feels good, you can always stretch the top left leg out a little bit straight. There you go. Remembering as we breathe to just stretch a little bit deeper, a little bit further. All right, one more big breath in. And as we exhale, let's bring those knees back to our chest, hug them in tight for a second. And then I'm gonna grab both of my knees glued together with that left arm and swing it to the left side of my body. My right arm reaches behind me and my gaze follows those right fingertips. Gently stretching here. Remembering my breath. And if it feels good, you can stretch your left leg out. All right, let's take one more big deep breath in together. And as we exhale, we're gonna bring those knees back to our chest, hug them in tight. You know, lifting our torso up at the ground. We really hug those knees in. Maybe gently roll or rock a little bit on our spine, a little bit side to side, massaging that lower lumbar section of our back. Perfect. Whoop. And roll to the side. All right, let's cross our ankles, drop our feet down to the mat, and we'll roll our body up to a seated position. All right, let's bring our hands to heart center in our prayer. Gently bow your head. Maybe rest your eyes closed. Oh, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the mat today at Yoga with Mom. I think the best part about yoga class is being able to show up for yourself no matter where you are, no matter what kind of day it was, no matter what you have to do with the rest of the day. You are here right now just for you, and that's all that matters is showing up for yourself. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to all the other fun classes we're gonna have together at Yoga with Mom. I have so many more fun mat classes, some more challenging ones, and so many more that are like this, but different, of course. There's just so many things in the yoga world that you can learn and love. So thank you again for joining me. I'm Jen. I will see you so soon. Thanks for joining us at Yoga with Mom. Bye.